stories. Now, in 1990, Ghana began the implementation of policies and programs aimed at increasing the consumption of LPG and reduce the growing deforestation. By 2021, however, Ghana's energy policy targeted 50% LPG market penetration by 2030. However, many have now resorted to the usage of charcoal. In this Joy News Hotline documentary, Gas to Charcoal, we tell you the stories of how consumers of LPG now prefer to use charcoal due to the high cost of LPG. Here is Gas to Charcoal.
By 2030. This documentary delves into the impact of these initiatives, which were designed to increase the adoption of LPG and encourage Ghanaians to transition away from wood fuels. As the world strives to combat deforestation and climate change, these efforts play a crucial role in fostering sustainable energy practices in Ghana. It is a sunny Friday afternoon here at Dromankese in the Nkranza North District. The people here are mostly traders and farmers. In this village, many of the communities around, the residents have for many years made a living out of a business very inimical to the fight against climate change. Here is DJ, as he likes to be called by his folks. He is a charcoal producer.
I'm a Sammy will be the mention fast as can answer gas, a bassa mania name. A bremy should be dinner gas, a beb woman dear, but Messandi says can I be a gas and some cotono. Messandi, for instance, says me be DC. Why do you say one uncle hold the intimate as offer by day? Offer liberating your babble. Into example, gas and 2050 city. Na be dinner some gusua may. Na me kotogas no na me be yebidie na 50 cedi no a me de kotogas na senka me de ma de ebeboa me no sa atem no ma nya no ekobasa na adwuma no so etisen na chi.
Charcoal production, its sale and transport is big business. There is even a driver association within the charcoal distribution value chain. Kamal is the spokesperson for the association and talks about the importance of charcoal to his community.
Bidie de nke besra ban say onhye kena mawe. Because begin there, some good begin at my come never begin there, or motor begin pa. But I quite say the common and yahan quan. Well, this year we are here for never be a bidid man or more. And yahan quan to begin the motor. Say, Bidino, yeah, the new Adriana, I had difference from saying gas. Because gas or no, the donor cast a gas and Adriana. Na bufa so gudu bidie so de ebesisu kakra ansa na nti yehun se bidie no sisi ade kamemenya de anka bidie na yenkoso yenhyemu kenana se bidie no yenkoso a enya no mo.
However, after 30 years of advocacy and investments by the government and other stakeholders to ensure that people stop using food fuels for LPG, some people still prefer charcoal to LPG. Evan Sohenijan is the presiding member of the Nkranza North District Assembly. He explains how 50 cedis worth of charcoal can last him 1 month compared to spending 220 cedis to buy LPG, which lasts only 1 month.
For me, I use both gas and charcoal. Even comparatively, I use charcoal more than the gas itself. Because in my household, the gas I use, the type I use, anytime I go to fill, I spend about 220 Ghana cedis before I'll be able to fill it. Sometimes it doesn't even last for a month. The gas will finish. But the charcoal, right now, it is 50 Ghana cedis here. For 50 Ghana cedis a bag, I can use it for 3 weeks or sometimes 1 month. So you compare the two. I'm using one bag for a cost of 50 cedis for 1 month, and then 200 and maybe 50 Ghana cedis a gas for sometimes less than a month. You see that the gas is very expensive. So that's why I use both. But I even use the charcoal more than even the gas.
The cost of LPG on the market makes this push for people to use LPG instead of charcoal even harder. In Tamale, for example, some food sellers confirmed that it is no longer sustainable to cook meals with LPG.
Every day it's increasing. When you bought 200 somewhere last year, you can use it 5 to 1 week. But currently, you can fill it 300 and 4 days, 3 days, it will finish. So that forces us to use the firewood and the charcoal to prepare our food.
We're using the gas from the beginning, at least for 4 months. It was very expensive. When we buy 800, we use it within 7 days. It was costing us a lot. So for now, we decided to switch everything to charcoal.
A lot of the charcoal produced in the rural part of northern Ghana is transported to Accra. This woman in the Achimota market talks about the booming charcoal business.
The ama bebre to bi die ne se gas ne bo aye denti sa na te da umbo to bi die. Nti se gas ne kura abo ne kofom a ya na ma ye bi die ne to no so kofom kakara.
But why is LPG so expensive? The high cost of LPG, according to Gabi Kumi, who is a vice chairman of the Association of LPG Marketers, is due to the number of taxes on LPG.
There are three factors that account for the price increase of LPG. The first factor is the international price of the product. When the international price goes up, the local price follows suit. The second reason why the price of the product is going up is the performance of our cedi against the major currencies. If the cedi depreciates against the dollar, the price of LPG goes up in cedis. The third factor, and the most important factor, is government taxes and margins and levies on the product. And for us, that is the factor that we can control. One of the factors that can easily be controlled is the taxes and levies on the product. It's very difficult to control the cedi depreciation these days. As for international prices, we don't go there because that one we have absolutely no control. The two factors that we can control is the cedi depreciation, and the most important factor that we can't control is the government margins and levies on the product. And that is why our association consistently have called on government to remove taxes from LPG, because we believe it doesn't make sense to put taxes and levies on a product that government has set objective to increase its consumption. Ghana started from paying subsidies on the product. We moved to full cost recovery, and then now we have put taxes close to 20% on the product, taxes and levies and margins. And we have consistently called on government to remove all these, because if you compare us to even La Côte d'Ivoire, our neighboring country, La Côte d'Ivoire is paying subsidy on LPG to the tune of about 25%. And currently, Ghana's LPG price is one of the highest in the world. Globally, LPG is bought per kilo is bought at under $1. But in Ghana, we are above $1. And that is really pushing a lot of people from consuming the product.
This has led to a reduction in the market penetration. He says, although the acceptance of LPG in Ghana has been growing, especially within the urban centers, the growing trend saw a sharp decline last year.
The sales of LPG, demand for LPG, consumption of LPG in Ghana is on a serious decline. And things are getting worse. Like we always indicate, from 2021, sales of LPG has been declining, and it's getting worse these days in Ghana because the price of the product keep shooting up. Now we are buying LPG at on the average at about 15 cedis, 50 pesos, and this is a record high. We are now buying LPG between 15 and 16 cedis, and we've never bought a product at such a high rate in Ghana before. So this is really affecting sales. And indeed, figures our association have picked from the first quarter of this year indicate that consumption of LPG is still going down. If you compare the figures we picked for the first quarter, compare that to that of last year and the last 2 years, this year is the lowest, and we don't seem to see any recovery being done because the price of the product keep moving up. As I speak to you now, by 15th of this month, we expect price of LPG to shoot up again, and that will go be beyond 16 cedis per kilo. So basically, and this is a business that runs on volumes. Once you are not making the volumes, you expect that the LPG marketing companies are struggling.
So what is the National Petroleum Authority doing to increase the consumption of LPG? Obed Boache is in charge of gas commercial regulation.
We are also looking at discussing with the Ministry of Finance through the Ministry of Energy the possibility of considering some of the taxes and some of the margins on the LPG to see if we could either reposition some of them or we could remove some of them so that it gives relief to consumers. So yes, we are conscious of the drops in consumption, and we are working towards increasing our consumption.
Let's talk about the taxes. You say you are having discussions with the Ministry of Finance and Energy.
Yes.
Have we reached those conversations?
Okay, so we have prepared a paper that in which we've made certain positions, we've made certain proposals to be considered by the Ministry of Energy, which will then be forwarded to the Ministry of Finance.
So you, in effect, you're calling for a reduction in the taxes?
We are asking government to look at it so that we could see if we could reposition some of the taxes or if we could remove some of the taxes. I think we took the taxes of LPG, the margins of the subsidies of LPG some time ago, and then so there has not been any subsidies on LPG since then. But then we don't intend, our position is not to introduce subsidies, but rather look at how we could still reduce the price so that people can afford to use LPG.
Those who are convinced about the benefits of using LPG but are unable to fill their cylinders due to the high cost only buy in bits. In Techiman, these operators of LPG stations indicate that they continue to record low sales daily.
First of all, we have a price in gas. First, none born of form pa, na ma put me patronize it. No motor, go bar or fail it, uboni bona no fail it. And I'm saying price, I rise it into go out bar, ubo price now, I say I'm 100 cedis, I'm 50 cedi, I'm 20 cedi. Or no, I'm gas in it or no higher style. Go to our better, I will be or how bar. Maybe a ubo price, maybe 100 cedis, so I say I'm 20 cedi. If it's a gas, in one higher than it.
Yeah, this time, the petrol of gas, this time, because of the high cost of it, this time people are not buying it as we used to buy it. If someone comes, instead of filling it 220 cedis, the person probably may buy 50 cedis or 20 cedis. For him to get taken about 3-4 days, wait for his salary, he comes back, then he come and buy it again, because this time the gas are very expensive. To be sincere, it's very expensive.
The situation is no different in Bolgatanga. These users of LPG express their frustration with the high prices. Although they have heard of the cylinder recirculation model, it is hard for most of them to understand how that will solve the problem of costs.
For example, normally sometimes I can buy it to last for a month, and this time, things change, so the gas price too is high. So when I come, the last time when I came, it was not up to 220 something cedi. But today when I came, the price has increased. So I don't have the money to add. So if the government bring that policy that they are going to be filling cylinders so that you just come and take. What if you don't have the money to take the full one? What will you then do? So I don't think that will help.
Me, I don't think it will help. Like coming and then they will fill a cylinder and put it there for me to come and pick. I don't know whether it's the actual quantity I bought that they are putting inside, or it's just something that they also did. I can come and buy 200 cedis, they will fill 150. I wouldn't know that it's 150, and I'll pick and go. When I get home and it doesn't last, I'll come, maybe some of us will come and complain to the owners of the place that they are stealing our gas, or what I came and bought, no, it wasn't up. That is it. And the prices too. It's not only about the cylinders, the prices too. That is it. If not, it will get to some time we'll even be using firewood. It's not we wouldn't even come and buy gas, talking of cylinders, changing of cylinders. So it's the prices that they should also work on. That is more important. To me like this, I've started now using charcoal. My gas have finished long time, but because my money, it used to be 120. Today, when I came, it's 228. So they should help us with the prices.
In Wa, the operator of an LPG station and a consumer shares similar sentiments.
I'm the manager of Trinity Beyond Gas in Upper West. Nowadays, the sales are very low. Daily sales, you can't think of it. The tax component in the product is too high to the suppliers and to the consumer. So you can see when they come, just say I'm buying 20 cedis, just spot. In amount they have, that is what they are going to fill. But you can't just say that I'm filling full. No, we don't have it now. The recirculation model, the problem I've seen is like the way we talk. If they fill the cylinder and give it to you, and someone comes, it's already filled. You can't do anything about it. And they have priced it. Someone just came, oh, my gas got finished, I want to buy 20 cc. How are you going to do it? Because the cylinder is not like watermelon, whereby you can just cut it and give portion to it for the price that he wants or she wants. So that is also a problem.
Yeah, I've not been able to fill. Today, what I fill here is 80 Ghana cedis. If I bring my cylinder to fill, and it happens that I'm coming to put it down and pick one that I've been already filled 120 Ghana cedis, which, for instance, I don't have 120 cedis now with me. So I have to fill 80 cedis. So if it happens that I'll come and it's like that, so what am I going to do? Meaning I'm going home with empty handed, so it will affect a lot.
The cylinder recirculation model seeks to ensure the refilling of cylinders in a safer way, as well as reduce accidents of gas filling points in communal and residential areas. The cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards. Under the CRM, it is the responsibility of LPG marketing companies to ensure that cylinders are in the best condition before it is handed over to customers. This includes checking for dents and replacing valves to avoid leakages. Although there has been some efforts to let the public understand how the cylinder recirculation model will operate, there are still more questions than answers. That is why Baba is asking how the operators of the system will ensure that people get the right quantity of gas they pay for in a cylinder.
This cylinder recirculation system is not going to be easy for us, we the sellers, not only in BB gas here, but with our other stations, our mother station, we have our neighboring stations in Tamale here. Someone will just stand in front of you, fill his or her cylinder to her, and that fellow will accuse you, oh, you have cheated me. I said, but the machine is there reading. But that fellow just feel, no, you have cheated me, because like maybe the time you were feeling, he or her mind was somewhere. But all of a sudden you see, oh, this is the amount. They say, no, I didn't see how you feel it. You see, the other way, when they fill cylinder and bring, how can you explain to someone that the cylinder is full to capacity? So it's not going to be easy for us here.
So how does the National Petroleum Authority respond to these concerns?
In introducing the cylinder recirculation model, we were conscious of the fact that we didn't have to further burden the consumer in terms of the price of LPG. You rightfully mentioned that once you introduce bottling plant operations, that is a new cost that comes into the pricing. And so what we did is we started with a tender program, so that the LPG, we import about 60% of the LPG we use in the country. And so what we did was we put all of our demand into one basket, and then we started a tender program that allowed, or it helped us to drop the premium on LPG by about $70 per metric ton. Previously, we used to get product supplied to us at a premium of 100, between 70, 100, and 120 sometimes. But then when we did the first tender, the premium dropped to, $30 per metric ton. And subsequent tenders we've done, we've achieved further reduction. So what helped, it helped us to introduce the bottling plant margin without having to add on to the cost, because we had made some savings with the premium that we dropped.
But there's been an introduction of a margin.
Yes.
So how different? You're saying that there's been an introduction of a margin to deal with the recirculation, isn't it?
Yes. So we added about $80 per metric ton to the price buildup. But as I explained, we have achieved a drop in the premiums. The first tender, we achieved about $70 per metric ton. And the second premium, we've actually even achieved more. And so what I'm saying is, it sort of negates the savings we made in the tender program, sort of negates whatever we introduced.
When you say you've achieved a reduction in the premiums, what do you mean?
Okay, so when a supplier supplies LPG, the amounts they add on top as their premium or their charge for supplying LPG. So that is the premium. That's what I'm saying. At first, it used to be in the range of between 70 to 120. But when we did the tender, it dropped. So that charge that would have been placed on top of the price of the product had dropped up to $30 per metric ton. And so that savings of about $70 per metric ton we made allowed us to introduce the bottling plant and then cylinder investment margin without having to necessarily increase the price of our LPG.
Exactly. So the marketers today say that, well, the CRM bottling model margin, they have to pass it on to us.
No, so as I explained, the CRM margin in itself did not cause the increase in the price of petroleum product.
But now that the price
that was absorbed by the savings made by the tender program.
Okay.
Yes.
As in those who are going to engage in the CRM.
Yes.
But how about those who are not engaged in it?
Okay, so the way we are implementing the whole structure is that it is placed at the supplies premium, so it covers all the volumes that we consume in the country.
Is it compulsory for everybody to undergo the CRM?
There's not compulsory. What we are saying is we're starting with the CRM. Do you mean consumers? Are you talking about consumers or service providers?
Yes.
No. So we've asked that we are going to do this side by side as we start, which means you can still continue to go to your refilling station to buy gas into your cylinder. Or when you see an exchange point, you can elect to go and then begin with the exchange of cylinders. And so we are not forcing anybody, or we are not, we are just educating people and then promoting the CRM as a better option.
Would you eventually face off people going to refill, or they will continue moving side by side?
Yes, we expect the side by side to go on for some time.
But how many?
We expect that eventually the cylinder recirculation model will take over. Because once we recall, we get most of the cylinders that are in circulation and we put out the branded cylinders. Those have become the ones that we use going forward. Yes.
Have you considered those who buy in what we may term as stores?
Yes.
Because, I've been going around the country, I see people saying how I bought 30 cedis, 20 cedis. Yes. What happens to them?
Yes. So I usually explain that the reason why you go there with a 14.5 kg cylinder to buy, let's say, 3 kg worth or 5 kg worth is because you have just one cylinder, or that's the size of the cylinder you have. And so anytime you need gas, irrespective of the quantity you need, you have to take that size over there. But under the cylinder recirculation model, there are several sizes. There's 3 kg, there's 6 kg, there's 12.5 kg, there's 14, 15 kg. And so once you bring a cylinder into the scheme, or once you register into the scheme, you are not tied to one side of a cylinder. If you bring a 14.5 kg today and you cannot afford a 14.5 kg, but you can afford gas for 6 kg, you pay for the gas, you take the 6 kg cylinder, and then you go to use. Once you exhaust it, you bring it back. If you want to pick a 3 kg, you pay for the 3 kg, and then you pick it to go and use. If it's the following month, you're expecting guests and you want to go back to your 14.5 kg, you pay for it and you pick it. So you see now you're not tied to one size of a cylinder. And we believe with these different sizes of cylinders, as we go ahead, it will become comfortable for people to use the different sizes of cylinders.
However, the vice chairman of the LPG Marketers Association disagrees. He says, but for the embargo on the construction of new stations, they will have addressed these concerns.
To be fair, cylinder recirculation can make the product more easily available than the current system. That would be a fair statement to make. But we believe that availability does not guarantee consumption. The fact that the product is available doesn't mean consumers will necessarily patronize it. We believe affordability is what really guarantees consumption. We believe that the consumer will always make a path to wherever the product is, so long as the product is affordable. See, if you are to take a survey in Ghana and ask LPG consumers how many people needs LPG but they can't find it, I'm sure you'll get almost nobody saying that. But if you are to ask that same question on affordability and ask that how many people are able or not able to afford LPG, I'm sure you'll get a lot of people saying that it's because they are not consuming it because they can't afford it. I mean, we have almost 800 LPG stations in Ghana, and that spread is good enough to make the product available to whoever wants to buy the product. I mean, we are in Ghana, we import products from places like China, Europe, because we can afford it. Yeah, they are not available to us here in Ghana, but we can go to another continent and buy them and bring them down here because we can afford it. So once you make the product affordable, consumers will always look for it wherever we have the product is. MPA has rather put availability before affordability, and that is a problem. We believe affordability is the number one reason why LPG consumption is going down, but not availability. And secondly, since 2017, when we had the atomic explosion, government has put a ban on construction of new LPG stations. So the current system has the potential to make the product available to every hamlet in this country. Had it not been government, as at the time the ban was placed, we have over 121 LPG stations across the country which were under various stages of construction. And these stations have not been allowed to even complete and operate. People have sunk, at the time we got a consultant to put the figures together, about between $10 to $12 million had been sunk on the ground. And as we speak now, it's just a few of them that has been able to allow. All these investment have gone down the drain. So the current system has what it takes to really make the product available. Had it not been the ban, which was placed in about 7 years now, I'm sure by this time the LPG outlets would have crossed 1,000. Would have crossed 1,000 outlets by now. But be it as it may, the 800 that we have in the system are capable of making the product available to wherever consumers are.
The continued reliance on wood fuels and charcoal in Ghana presents significant challenges to both public health and the environment. The widespread use of these traditional energy sources contributes to deforestation, greenhouse gas emissions, and indoor air pollution, posing serious risks to the well-being of communities and the planet. The successful implementation of the cylinder recirculation model in Ghana requires a collaborative effort from government agencies and private sector partners like the LPG Marketers Association and the public. Through education, investment, and sustained commitment, Ghana can transition towards a more sustainable energy future that prioritizes its people's well-being and the protection of its natural resources. This shift is not just an opportunity, but a necessity, as the choices we make today will shape the world we leave for future generations.